of It's Predestined the Podcast. I'm Pri, and today I have a super uber dope guest with me. I have Najee, and she's so poppin'. She's the NBA having super duper organized, one of the most organized people in my life. She keeps me together. She motivates me in the gym. She's just an amazing friend to have. If you don't have one, you should go get one. I already have mine. You can't have her. But welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to have you because, you know, the conversations we have all the time are like so insightful and inspiring. And, you know, I'm gonna give people a sneak peek of the litness that happens when we're together having conversations.
The conversations definitely are the bomb. But...
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll start with like some little current events and stuff like that, and kind of go into the other stuff.
Okay.
So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, because I was type upset because it's one of my favorite things in the world, and people were talking bad about it, and they were like, delete it, they're going to steal all your money. Not that I have a lot of money for people to steal, but they were saying the Cash App was hacked. Do you use Cash App?
I only use Cash App. And a lot of people at work are like, what's Cash App? Because they all use Venmo.
Venmo, yeah. Venmo, it's not Cash App.
Right.
I definitely prefer Cash App.
Me too. But it was hacked?
That's what people were saying. People were saying. I was seeing it on, like, circulating on the internet. Like, Cash App got hacked, and they were, like, stealing people's money, and they were contacting Cash App, and they weren't giving them their money back and stuff like that. But when I see stuff like that, especially when it's something that I like,
yes,
I have to go dig a little deeper.
Yes.
And I could not find anything that legitimized it. The things that I saw were basically people not being the smartest.
Right.
And like losing their Cash App cards and not disconnecting their bank accounts, or giving random people access to their stuff.
Right.
And then like calling 800 numbers, which Cash App does not have an 800 number. So never call a Cash App 800 number, because there is no Cash App 800 number.
PSA people.
Like, public service announcement. Cash App does not have an 800 number. You can only email them. I had an issue with money before one time, and I emailed them and they gave me my money right back. So Cash App's good in my book. Don't tell me nothing bad about Cash App unless you have a link from a reliable source to go with it.
Right. I like Cash App too. I had money that people were sending me because I'm planning like a little group trip.
Oh, cool.
And the money
always
had been...
tripping.
I know.
Always on a trip.
The money had been sitting in there, so it's surprising to me that that happened recently, because I was just waiting to get it all before cashing out. And then also, yesterday, I sent somebody money and I didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
So
people be tripping. And you have to understand that Cash App is a cool transfer tool. It's not supposed to take place of your bank account.
Right.
It's not supposed to be your
Exactly.
bank account. That's not what it is. It's just to transfer money back and forth, people.
Right. See, it's probably those people who ask for money for their birthdays and stuff.
I literally did that though, so I'm not going to throw no shade. But I feel like I didn't do it like, I didn't beast. You know, I had a picture, and then if you slid, there was the Cash App information. So if you chose to send me money for my birthday, like, that was cool.
Right.
But, you know, I didn't apply pressure. I didn't apply any pressure. And, you know, people actually sent me money for my birthday.
That's nice.
They really did. I probably got like $80.
That's A lot of money.
I got like $80 for my birthday.
That's nice.
So people can say what they want, but I'm gonna do it next year too. Because that was cool.
Just don't be a serial requester.
No. I won't like randomly put it in my Insta story and be like, send me money, please. Yeah. So that was that. The midterm elections are coming up.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to do more research before the show. I really don't know who I'm voting for. But, I'm not here to tell you guys who to vote for anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say that this is a very important election.
Yep.
One of the most important.
Yep. And
you should definitely make sure that you are knowledgeable about the candidates and make sure that you're definitely registered to vote.
Yes.
And make sure that you get out to vote and encourage the people in your life to vote because, woo child.
Yeah.
The White House. It's a mess.
It is.
It really, really is.
I was looking into it a little bit because I think this will be my first midterm that I've ever voted.
Really?
Yeah. Because I've never felt so passionately about what's happening to go out and vote for the midterms.
Okay.
So I guess I'm thankful in that way for all the madness that's been going on because it's definitely making me more aware of how important it is. Even just, for the more, I wouldn't consider it minor, but just the ones that aren't the presidential.
Honestly, the midterm elections are more important than the presidential election because these are the elections of the people that really make the decisions and run the day-to-day of things that actually affect us. Yeah. Like people will say, like, I don't vote for the president because I don't have anything to do with it and like if my voice doesn't really count. But these elections, the midterms, like you're literally voting for like the things in your city, judges in your city, judges in your counties and your townships and stuff like that. The people that will affect you and do make decisions on your behalf. Right. Whether it's a parking ticket that you get and you're standing in front of a judge or anything. Like these are the ones that really, really matter.
Exactly.
I've always voted in all the election, like the midterms and the presidentials because my nanny, like she ran the polls when she was alive. So she was like, she didn't play when it came to voting. Like, it's not an option.
Right.
It's not a game.
Well, I'm not taking it as a game anymore.
Like, she didn't play that. My mom doesn't play that. So, yeah. But what I have gotten better with, though, is I used to just go straight ticket Democrat no matter what. Like, Democrat, period. But now I feel like I need to be a little more selective with at least looking into the candidates.
Yeah.
Because some people are calling themselves Democrats, but they really don't have, they don't have the best interest for like Black and brown communities. That's like they're calling themselves Democrats, but they're throwing Black and brown people in jail and, taking resources out of the communities. So.
Right. It really is politics at the end of the day, and people will do anything sometimes to win.
Yeah, exactly.
But I started looking at it a little bit, and some of the information that I found was I didn't know there were different deadlines in different states to register. So PA, Delaware, and Jersey, I think all have 3 different deadlines. So
I didn't
for all your listeners
out
there, definitely research whatever your deadline is in your state. Some states do up to the day and others don't, so that's important too. And then also, as long as you voted within the last 4 years, you should be good on your registration. But if you didn't vote in the last midterm or the presidential, then you probably have to re-register. So some people might be thinking their registration card is good for forever.
True. And it's not. Especially if you move. A lot of times, I know in PA, if you move and when you go on to PennDOT to change your license over, they'll ask you if you also want to change your voter registration address and stuff like that. So I suggest that if you have to in the very near future, or, you know, you can actually go in there anytime, I believe, and you can actually change your registration polls and stuff like that online.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thankfully, like where I live now, my polling place is like literally down the street. So I have no excuse. No excuse at all not to vote.
Right.
So yeah, you guys go out there and what was Diddy's thing? Vote or die.
Yes.
Rock
Vote
the
or
vote.
die.
Rock the vote. Voting is lit.
Yes.
One other really cool thing that I saw this week, or kind of last week into this week, was that now in New York they have mandatory mental health classes in all their schools, and it starts at like the age 3. And I think that is so major, and I think that is so dope and so necessary, and I hope that other states adopt it, because it's getting real.
Yep.
Like, it's super real. And it said that like we have 6 and 7-year-olds that are committing suicide.
That is so sad. And I don't know, like, honestly, what's happening in the world. That is it just that we as a society are more in tune with these issues? Have they always been there and people just ignored or dealt in a different way? Or is it times are changing and causing these kids to feel the way they feel? I mean, I think it's a great program to have. And I definitely agree with you that other states need to adopt it. But I'm just wondering what's going on to make people even feel the way they're feeling with kids, you know, committing suicide. And
yeah, I definitely agree. And I was thinking about that the other day, because there's a number of people in my life that deal with anxiety and depression and other mental health issues. And it's just like, wow, it kind of feels like, I don't want to call it an epidemic, but it feels like it's so prevalent now. Mm-hmm. So like you said, is it the fact that we're just now recognizing it and calling it what it is?
Right.
Or, you know, is there just this influx of people with anxiety and depression?
Right. I'm like, is it, you know, technology and not, I don't know if social media, I mean, I blame social media for everything.
Because social media is really like a gift and a curse.
Yeah, but then also, you know, people are hoverers now, parents, and it is a scary world. And I'm like, the media kind of contributes to that. Are things really as bad as they say they are? And people are like keeping their kids in and not getting they're not getting that outlet that they need, both physically and mentally. And maybe they're just holding on to a lot of things. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a lot actually of mental disorders that you can't control. You have no power over it, unfortunately.
But a lot of them are genetic.
Right. And there are a lot of ways to treat mental disorders, but I feel like there's an extra layer on top of, like you mentioned, just genetic issues going on with bullying and everything else. So anyway.
Yeah, true. And plus, I mean, but when I thought about it, it made me think that, like, these aren't new issues.
Yeah.
You know, like the bullying's not a new issue. Just like how society treats people and how people are lacking things in life. People are lacking love. People are lacking, you know, social interaction. People are lacking the basic things that they need, like Maslow's hierarchy. Yes. Like, people are struggling to, like, really struggling to reach self-actualization. Yes. Like, they're barely hitting the bottom. They're working on 2 and 3 right now. So it's just like, you know, it's really unfortunate. So yeah, I definitely think that New York is doing something great and necessary with these mandatory health classes.
Agreed.
Right. And I'll kind of segue just talking about, mental health and mental wellness and just overall well-being in life. I feel like a lot of people that I know, and I feel like I see it on social media too, where I'm calling it a quarter life crisis, because it's not quite a midlife crisis because we're all young. And I feel like it's kind of taking place from, like, I'll say 24, 25 to like 33, where it's basically like just this concept where, no matter what people have accomplished up to this point, or what they have, or what they're doing, or, what their career ambitions are looking like, or how many degrees they have, or like just what they're doing in life that's, going on for them, they have this feeling that it's just not enough.
Yeah.
And what's next? And what do I do next? And is what I'm doing right now what I'm supposed to be doing? Yeah. And it's frustrating because I can relate, because I feel like we all can relate, because we all go through it. It's just like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, is this my purpose? Am I really passionate about this? Like,
right.
I'm not married. Like, then there's that whole thing, like, not even about like the career, but then it's just like, what am I doing? Right. What's next?
Yeah. I can relate to this a lot. I think, yeah, it is a quarter life crisis for sure. And my feelings towards that probably started to grow right when I finished grad school, because for so long I was always on a schedule. So in a way, it's like, okay, you're going to go to school from kindergarten to 12th grade, and then you're going to go to college, and then after college, you'll go to grad school. And it's always been a plan. I mean, at the beginning of every semester, you get a syllabus, like what you're going to focus on, and that's just what it is.
Right.
And all you have to do is study and make the grades. But then once you leave that structure and you go out into the real world, there's no handbook for your job. It's not like, oh, you'll work here until you retire, definitely. And
that's like so rare now.
Right, exactly. And these are the steps that you need to take in order to pass each quarter. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So,
this is the path you take to get promotions and get to the position that you want. Like, it's not that incremental thing anymore.
Exactly, because we both know things kind of just happen, and sometimes it's who you know, and
a lot of times.
Yes, and there's
most times it's who you know.
Right, and there's a lot of office politics that go on in a lot of workplaces. But anyway, I feel like I suffer from it, from that perspective of always wanting more. And I have a friend who suffers from it from the other side, where it's like, I'm not doing enough. And I guess we both have that in common, but it's just a little bit different. So I'll explain. I'm used to always having too many things on my plate. And then this year, I would say a lot of things slowed down for me in work and just other areas of my life. And it was tough for me, because I thought, I can just come up with a plan.
You are the planner. This woman has an Excel spreadsheet for everything in her life. Like, everything. Like, every time I bring something up, she's like, yeah, and I started a spreadsheet. And, like, she color codes it, and she has highlights and different colors and different fonts. And I'm just like, this is too type A for me. I can't. Because y'all know, I wing it. I wing everything, from my eyeliner to everything in my life. It just gets winged, and you work it out. Nothing's, like, my life is the least organized thing you'll ever come in contact with.
The eyeliner.
Yes, everything stays winged. Except chicken, because I'm not eating meat. But besides that.
But yeah, I just don't with it. I'm still dealing with it from that perspective of like, my plan isn't working. What's next, you know? And then I have a friend who like procrastinates on plans. Not you.
I must say at me.
And she just kind of feels it from the other side, like, okay, this year is my year and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And it's almost like, I don't know if the motivation isn't always there, or sometimes it's the environment you're into, because she lives in an area where it's like there's not a lot going on. There aren't other young people, like-minded, professional, you know what I mean? So it's really hard for her to have that push. And she's kind of a homebody, so she's not like socializing with other people, networking and stuff like that. So I can see it from both perspectives, but at the end of the day, we both have a common goal and share the same struggles.
Right, definitely. I can more so speak to it from the part of the procrastination. Like, I have so many bright ideas. I have so many ideas. My head is full of ideas.
You have a lot of good ideas.
I have great ideas. Like, I won't, no cap. I have great ideas, but then when it comes to execution, it's just like, oh, this is too much for my life. Like, I got a lot going on. I am the socializer. I'm always out mixing and mingling and stuff. I'm always doing something, if it's not cheer, or work, or like, you know, whatever. So I just, like, I get overwhelmed with the process. Mm-hmm. I get overwhelmed when it comes to like the execution, but then at the same time, it's just like, I'll have this plan and I'll have the thought of an idea that I want to do. And then 3 months later, it's just like, wow, Pri, if you would have just worked on it when you had the idea, it would be done right now. It would be rolling right now, but you didn't. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of times, like, I'll have an idea, I'll sit on it, and then I'll see it and somebody else has done it. And I'm like,
that's the worst.
Darn it. Like, if you would have worked on it when you had the idea, like, this would have been you.
Yeah.
And that's another big thing. Like, comparison is the thief of joy. It truly, truly is.
Yeah.
And I feel like social media plays a major part in that. And even like friendships and stuff. I surround myself with organized people. I surround myself with people that make things happen, to somewhat motivate me to make things happen. But at the same time, it's just like, wow, they said they were going to do it and they did it and it's done. I said I was going to do this, haven't touched it. It's not done. So even from that point of view, it's just like, you know, kind of feeling like everyone around you is moving forward and sometimes you feel stuck, you know?
That's a good point. But I think I agree with you. You have wonderful ideas. They're amazing. You're so creative and just so clever. And
I didn't pay her to say that either.
She didn't pay me. But I feel like everybody deals with that. There's only so much time in the day. And also, if you want to do something well, you have to invest thought into it, and you can't just, you know,
and time and effort.
Exactly, that's true. You can't just jump into it all the time. I mean, there are risk takers out there that excel at that. I'm not one of them. But the same way how you surround yourself with organizers, I admire a lot of your characteristics, because I wish sometimes I could just let things go. I wish I could let go a little bit and just let God. And I think from the examples that we both just shared about our own personal experiences, the key message in all of that is whatever's meant to be will be. Because you know, you're taking your time to do things because you say one of your biggest problems is procrastination. But look at it. I mean, you have the podcast off the ground now. It's up and running.
Yeah.
And you have listeners, and things are just It's going to just get better. Let's claim it. 2019. It'll keep growing.
Yes, claim it. Yes.
And then, it's happening now. And then you can, after some time, focus on the next thing that you need to. And then from my perspective, meanwhile, I'm like, every night, spreadsheet this, spreadsheet that, and things aren't happening any quicker for me. So I think that key message is when the time is right, it's going to happen no matter what type of personality you are. There's no playbook.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. It's like, what's for you
Yes.
is for you.
Yes.
Period. Like, point blank.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to have to rob for it, steal for it, cheat for it, anything. If it's what's supposed to be yours, like, you'll do it.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it earlier, how, when something's for you, there's like a piece that you have. Mm-hmm. You're not like stressing over it. You're not constantly like dwelling on it. It's just like, okay, this is it. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
This is where I'm headed.
Yeah, that's so true. And when you're in it, in the part where it's not so sweet, mm-hmm. It's so hard to see that other side. And it doesn't matter what people say. Like, even think about like relationships and stuff. I'm not married, and not in a relationship right now. But
your king is coming.
Right, right. I have a cousin who will always be like, when it happens, it'll be so easy, you won't even understand how it happened. And I'm the type of person and personality who does not believe that. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's not how it's going to happen.
Like, clearly it's going to be hard work.
Exactly. I'm going to work very hard for it. And it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of patience and whatever before it happens. But then I have had moments not related to relationships, just other areas where it has been that easy. And I'm just like, why can't I just accept that,
Right. And sometimes it is hard because it's like, sometimes it's too easy.
True.
And it's like we get in that mindset where like, too good to be true.
Yeah.
Like, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
You listen, I don't trust it. And that's the issue that we have, is trusting.
True. And
trusting ourselves, trusting our abilities, trusting what we know, trusting our past, trusting, that we know what's best for ourselves, and that we're deserving of things.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it'll be like, no, like this, they can't possibly want me for this. Like, I can't possibly be the one for this, or no, this wasn't made for me. And the whole time, like, it is, and you've put in the work for it, and you deserve it, and it's there for you.
Yep. And you just made me think of something. I feel like maybe because of who we are, there are some aspects of like racial, socioeconomic, and gender that's factored into that.
Absolutely.
Because it's, like you said, I'm not deserving. I mean, who feels like that typically? If you look at how the country and the world is set up, Black women aren't exactly the ones that are held up by everyone in society. Like,
exactly.
You can do this and you can do that and whatever. So that's definitely something that plays a big factor in why maybe we feel like we have to work so hard for everything, because we have worked so hard for everything.
Exactly. I had that conversation with somebody really close to me. She got a promotion or whatever, and when it came to, right before she got her promotion, she wanted to ask for a raise, but she didn't know how to go about it. She didn't know like how much to ask for, and in the process, she was given a promotion, and she wanted more money. And it's just like, and this has happened with a couple of my friends. It's like they'll get an offer, and it's just like, it is close to what I want, and it's like they're scared to ask for more because they don't want them to take the job off the table.
Right.
And it's just like they want you.
Exactly.
Like they wouldn't have sent you the offer letter, they wouldn't have sent you the contract, they wouldn't be having this conversation with you if you weren't worthy of this position and this job.
Yeah.
If you didn't put the work into like for this job to be yours.
Exactly.
So we shouldn't have a problem asking for what. It's not like we're asking for something we don't deserve or that we're not working for.
Right.
Like we literally are working for it. We're not asking them to give us anything.
Yeah.
We're earning it.
Exactly.
So it's just like, it's frustrating, but I understand because it's like, it's a nervous thing. It's just like, oh, well, they want me, so should I just like take what they're offering? And it's like, you don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to just take what someone's offering you. Go for exactly what you want.
That's true.
So you don't have to do those negotiations for a raise later because you have exactly what you want.
That's true. And
because a lot of times we'll accept something and then later in the line it's like, this is a lot of work and I shouldn't have accepted what I accepted for it.
Right.
It's like, okay, so how do I negotiate a raise?
Right.
When if you would have just asked for what you actually wanted in the first place, you wouldn't be sitting there sweating trying to figure out how to negotiate.
Yep, that's true.
So yeah. Another part of that like quarter life crisis is the struggle of what you're good at versus what you went to school for versus what you love.
Woo.
And I know for me, it's a struggle because if I could really do like what I love, I mean, I could make money, but it's a slow grind. Like it's a slow grind, and I know that's for so many other people too. Like when your purpose is to help people or change people's lives and stuff, there's rarely ever money in that.
Yeah.
There's rarely ever money in that, and if there is, it's like corrupt.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like you have to struggle with the moral or the money.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Especially like trying to figure out your passions at this age. Because it's like, okay, I'm good at these things. I'm good at this. I'm good at this. I'm good at that. But what am I passionate about?
Yeah. And sometimes maybe you just have to, it's a mixture of both. But it's unfortunate because not everybody has that opportunity to really, first of all, sit around and figure it out.
True.
True.
Because the bills come every month, and you can't tell Pico you trying to find your purpose. Because Pico don't want to hear that, because you'll be trying to find your purpose in the dark. It'll be dark and cold, and you'll be sitting there trying to figure out your purpose.
Exactly. So, I mean, if the opportunity presents itself where it's like, okay, you're in a field that you actually studied, which is rare among at least me and the people that I know.
True.
But anyway, if you studied something and you actually like it, I've learned that there are so many professions out there that aren't so black and white. There are a lot of organizations that are looking for unique skills, and those skills might overlap with others, and also they might seep into other areas that you didn't really consider before. And maybe just by being in a company and just learning what all those different things are, you could find something that you're both good at and passionate about.
True. And I feel like our generation, what are we? Are we?
I think
millennials.
Millennials, yeah.
Yeah, that bullcrap or whatever. So I feel like we've been pretty good at being creative when it comes to like our jobs and stuff like that. Even if it's not something that we went to school for, I feel like we're good at improvising, and we're good at kind of taking what we want and taking what we don't want and figuring out how it can still serve us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just like our job. Well, we work together.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
But it's not my passion.
Right.
It's not like my long-term career.
Right.
It's literally for my bills and my plane tickets.
Yeah.
And the things that I do outside of that are what serve me, are the things that make me happy.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people feel stuck and they get kind of down when it's like a situation where they're like work, home, work, home, work, home. Especially if it's not something you love, I feel like it makes it that much more important for you to find things outside of it that serve you and serve your passions and serve the things that you love, even if the job that pays you the money doesn't, fulfill those passions.
Yep. And I'm going to bring something up that happened months ago. I don't remember when now. But anyway, it's something that I thought was cool about you. I promise she's not paying me, people. But so as you mentioned, we do work together, but you invited me to a panel that you were speaking on, and I ended up going with one of my friends. And before we got there, I let her know that we did work together. So when you guys were up on the stage introducing yourselves, everybody was asked to say their name and what they do and stuff like that. And I really admired that when you introduced yourself, you focused more on your passion, not your profession, not your current profession. Because you could have easily been like, hi, I'm Capricia. I work in the business of healthcare or whatever. You know what I mean? But you were like, hi, I'm Capricia. I'm a writer. I'm a this. I'm a that. Like, you didn't say anything about your, money maker, plane ticket buyer. And you focused on what you truly loved. And I really admired that because it's a testament to just the type of thinker that you are. And I'm a believer that you can speak things into existence. So your words are powerful, and if you don't see yourself going down a certain path forever, it's good to speak what you want as your end goal.
Right.
And I liked that. So
Aww.
Kudos to you.
And I mean, I've always been, and I think this kind of comes from my mom because she's never been super attached to things.
Yeah.
So, like, a job is a job. If I don't have that job tomorrow, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember when there was talk about, us merging with other companies and stuff like that. And people were so stressed out.
Yeah.
Like, people were stressed. Yeah. And I was just like...
I was one of those.
Yeah, true. And I was just, like, so cool. And people were just like, how are you so calm? And I was like, child, I got a plan.
Right.
Like, this job, it could be here today, going tomorrow, and that's just any job.
True.
And it's just like, I've never been super attached to a job because I know how quick they come and go.
Right.
And I know how, like, company loyalty isn't really a thing anymore like it was for our parents. Like, they could have been at a company for 20 years and retire from that company. That's not our reality. If anything, we have to change jobs about 3 to 5 years to actually get what we deserve if we want to, like, move up and make more money.
Yep.
Period. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just like, okay, I'm looking at this as an opportunity. If this does happen, if this merger happens and we all get laid off, I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack up my apartment. I'm going to sell what I can. What I can't sell is going to my mom's garage. I'm going to take this little, what is it called?
Unemployment.
What's the other one?
The severance.
Severance. It left me. I'm going to take this little severance. I'm going to take this unemployment. I'm going to buy me a plane ticket. And I'm traveling for 6 months.
And verbatim, that was her plan.
I'm traveling for 6 months.
And I nearly freaked out at the thought the thought.
I'm not planning anything. I'm going to just buy a plane ticket and I'll figure it out when I get there.
But that's cool. I mean, hey, whatever works for you, and going back to the mental health thing, like whatever keeps you sane is the most important thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's another thing. Like, what you do is not who you are.
Exactly.
Like, what you do as a profession, like what pays your bills is not who you are. And when you get attached to that, when those things change, it rocks some people, because it's like, okay, now that I'm not this, who am I?
Right.
And it's like you have to have your identity, and you have to know who you are outside of everything else, outside of your relationships, outside of your career, outside of everything else. You have to like know exactly who you are and what you want and where you see yourself and how you see yourself, and how much you love yourself and things like that. It's imperative.
I agree.
It's imperative, because everything in your life changes.
Yeah.
And things come and go. And if you attach yourself to things, when those things change, it'll completely uproot you.
Yeah.
It'll shake you to your core.
Yeah. And you'll be spread out all over.
Yeah.
Pieces of you with all those things that have gone by the wayside.
Right. And you want to always remain a whole person. Mm-hmm. You don't want, when you lose some things, that parts of you go with it.
Yeah.
You want to always be whole, and these other things are extracurriculars, or just extra things in your life that add to you.
Amen.
So I kind of talked about, comparison being a thief of joy, and that is like, just watching your peers and how they're navigating life, even though, we're all going through this quarter life crisis.
We are.
We're all going through it together.
Start a support group. Like, I don't know why.
That's a great idea.
Why do we feel... It's so crazy, because social media is supposed to bring us together, and you're supposed to, like, share ideas, and then people can relate to you. But are we sharing... I mean, are the people sharing how they really feel about the quarter life crisis?
I think it's a hit or a miss. I think some people, they're committed to showing the best life.
Yes.
Yes. Even me, like, I feel like it's a mix of things. Like, when I'm kind of going through something, like, I'll definitely, or not even when I'm going through something, like, sometimes things will just be on my heart and on my mind, and I'll just write and I'll share it with people. Yeah. And, people usually are, like, going through it, or they get something out of it. Yeah. And that's always, like, super dope to me,
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like people put out their best selves on social media. It's like the highlight reel.
That's a good point. Maybe that's why we really don't come together. I mean, unless it's like you're close, you're good girlfriends. Like, we don't just come together and talk about that stuff, because maybe you're seeing the best of everyone else and you're like, oh, well, they seem happy and I'm over here. So maybe we internalize a lot of it.
Yeah, and I think you can either look at the other side of it, where it's just like there's so much kind of sadness and doom and gloom on social media too. And it's just like, oh, well, if that person's going through that, I shouldn't be complaining. Like, that whole thing where it's like, I could have it way worse than I do, so I shouldn't complain. Like, compared to this, like, I'm living great. Mm-hmm. And you're allowed to be frustrated. Yeah. You're allowed to feel stuck. You're allowed to, like, wonder what's next. You're allowed to, feel like you're in a transition period, because life is just an ongoing transition. Like, it's you're constantly loading. I don't think we ever really get to 100%. No one gets to 100%. There's always work to do. We're constant works in progress. So just social media, it'll really throw you for a loop. So that's like why, like, for me, I was having this conversation the other day. If I have children, I don't think that I would let them on social media till I knew for a fact that they knew who they were and they were super secure in who they were. Yeah. Because if you don't know who you are, social media will have you trying to be everything and nothing at all.
That's the truth.
Like, it'll really have you questioning yourself. Like, even me, I feel like I'm pretty self-aware, and there will be days where I'm scrolling on my timeline and I'm like, ugh, I gotta do more. I gotta be better. I'm not doing enough out here. Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I have to do more. I have to be better. I have to be great. I'm not great right now. You know, so those things happen. And it'll be different things. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be anything like super superficial. It could just be something as small as like somebody posting like they lost 10 pounds last week. And it's just like, I should have lost 10 pounds last week. I should have lost 10 pounds last week. But you know what I was doing? I got the juice, eating salmon cheese sticks. So it's just like those little things where it's just like, you know, it could completely throw you off. And then even our parents. I know some people that compare themselves to their parents, not as far as a career thing goes, but it's just like, my parents were married at 22. I'm about to be 30 and I'm not married. I'm not even dating. I have no like potential beaux at this point. What am I doing? Like, where's my happily ever after?
Right.
So
that's a good point. And I feel like maybe sometimes even parents put pressure, even though they know times are different, and you know, there are other things that we try to do at the age they were when they got married, because you know, everything's more expensive. Like, you really have to set up your life in a different way. But there is
student loans,
right,
ah.
Exactly. But there is some added pressure, maybe, that people just need to tune out. It's hard. Nobody wants to disappoint their family, or nobody wants to feel like they're behind on their plan or whatever. But it just goes back to that message of just going with
trusting. Que sera, sera. Me and Lauren literally have it tattooed on us. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be.
Yes.
And that's what it is. Well, so I'm sorry if I got y'all like all upset and thinking, and I got y'all in a downward spiral right now, talking about your quarter life crisis. But I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. Y'all know I love lists. Lists are my thing. So I wasn't going to just leave y'all with that. I came up with a couple different ways to, you know, by no means am I any professional. I am no professional. This is just a podcast. Listen, I just speak on the things. Go to a doctor. I just speak on the things that I've been through. But I put a few things together, ways to survive your quarter life crisis. And they may work for you and they may not work for you, but you know, I wasn't just going to leave y'all with a downer with no solutions. I'm very solution based. My mom always says, if you're not part of this solution, you're part of the problem. Yes. And I don't ever want to be a part of anyone's problem. Well, I'm a problem for some people, but you know, that's neither here nor there. So, number one, I just said, breathe, relax. You're doing great, sweetie. In my Kris Jenner voice, and I don't even fool with the Kardashians, but you're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great. You know, sometimes we have to sit in the moment and like really realize how far we've actually come and how much we've actually done. And sometimes just getting out of the bed and making it to work in the morning is a feat. And you have to just pat yourself on the back for doing that. Like, yes, I did that. I sat in that traffic and didn't cuss nobody out. Yeah, I sat at this desk for 8 hours and got some work done and was productive and hit all my numbers.
Right.
Congratulations to me.
Right.
You know, small victories.
Yep.
Number two, only compare today to yesterday. Live in the moment and take things one day at a time. Sometimes we get so engulfed in what's next, that we don't take the time to really breathe and take in like where we are in the moment. And sometimes you just have to take things one day at a time, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you get in those phases where, you know, you're feeling in a funk, you're feeling stuck. Sometimes you just got to take it one day at a time. Like, for as many days as you have to. Like, that's really what it comes down to sometimes. Like, sometimes it's hard and you just don't know how to get out of it. You don't really know what you're feeling. You don't really know, you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to. Like, or if you do talk to people, they're like, your life is great. You're good. Like, chill out. You have this handled. Just relax. People will treat you like you're being dramatic, but no one knows what you're really going through but you. So take it one day at a time. Yeah. That's what it is. 3, break your goals down into digestible chunks and milestones. So if you have this huge project or this thing that you want to do, kind of give yourself like little weekly benchmarks or milestones. Like, okay, this is what I want to do. These are the things that I have to do to accomplish this. So this week I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to just research. Like 1 week, just research. Just look at stuff. Just Google it all week. What don't you need to do? What do you need to do? Like, just simple things. And break those things into small digestible chunks. If you need to ask for help, ask for help. Resources, people all those things are mad important.
Yeah.
What else? Like I said before, life is constantly loading. And we never really reach 100%. We're all constant works in progress, and there's always more to life. So, a lot of times I'll say things like, if I'm having a rough day, I'll say, it's a bad day. It's not a bad life.
That's a good way of looking at
that's the thing. Like, I'm having a bad day. I don't have a bad life. And a lot of days that like gets me through it. And it's just like, just knowing that you're a constant work in progress. Sometimes you gotta just not be so hard on yourself. And I know that's hard because we're our own worst critics, but sometimes you have to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace like you give the other people in your life grace.
Yes.
Because we're mad graceful with everybody else in our life.
Aren't we though?
We're so graceful with everyone else in our life. But then when it comes to us, we abuse ourselves.
Yes.
Like, so much abuse. So much. So yeah, definitely just, yeah. And life is short. Like, do what makes you happy. What's next? Oh, number 5, therapy. Therapy is lit. Yes. And don't feel any kind of way about reaching out to talk to someone about how you're feeling. If you're feeling stuck, if you feel like you're failing, self-doubt and insecurity are very human emotions. They're things that we all feel. Like, no matter how well you think you're doing or how well you're doing, or, if you're in a tight spot, if you're in a bind, those things happen. So when it gets to a point where you feel like it's impacting your quality of your day-to-day life, don't feel any type of way about reaching out to get help. Period. If you're a woman, you can go on Therapy for Black Girls. If you're a guy, you can go on Therapy for Black Girls. If you're a man or a woman, you can go on psychologytoday.com. Both have databases and like a catalog of different therapists in your area. And you can go on there and look and shop around. Like, I'm kind of in that process right now.
Yep.
Where I'm trying to find my therapist. It's hard finding a therapist.
Yeah.
I think it's harder finding a therapist than it is like apartment hunting. And I hate apartment hunting.
No, I agree with you.
Yes.
You have to trust somebody.
Exactly. And it has to be a fit.
Yep.
Like, when it's right and when it's not. Yep. And some are more affordable than others.
That was something I was going to bring up. They'll work with you. There are some income-based options out there. So don't feel like, all therapists are super expensive. You can find things that'll fit your budget.
Yeah. And
just think about it as an investment, just like you would invest in anything else. Just like you buy the food to put in your stomach. Like, This is a different type of feeding.
And nourishment.
Yes.
Exactly. If you'll go and spend $30 on takeout, you can spend a $30, $40 copay for therapy.
Yeah.
And it's not like you have to go every week or multiple times a week. Sometimes that may be what you need. But if you want, you can see them once a month, twice a month. It's not like it's something that you have to And it's not even like something you have to commit to.
Right.
That money not going to come out your account every month like HBO does. Like you get to decide how much you need and at what pace and how often that you need it. So it's good. I am a major advocate of therapy. So go for it. And you don't have to take the first one that you go to. Shop around.
Yeah.
Just like you would do anything else. Like, listen, this is the person that you're going to be telling your innermost thoughts and feelings. You want it to be a fit.
Yeah.
So, and then the last one I have is whether you're loving what you do or where you are, always be doing things that you love, that you feel are cathartic. It's super important. And I kind of touched on that earlier, how it's important to always be doing things that serve you and make you happy. So yeah, those are some of my tips and tricks on how to survive the quarter life crisis. We're getting through this together, guys. We're getting through this together.
Yes.
So we'll wrap up, the quarter life crisis conversation. And I have a few listener questions, but we'll do one and then we'll wrap up. So the question, can't find the exact wording right now, but it was basically, I remember how it was worded because he's a goofball. But the question said, why did Denzel have to be crooked before he took it? And he was kind of talking about Regina Hall just winning her Emmy and why are Black people still seeking validation from these very white academies and institutions?
Good question.
You want to go first?
Sure. I think that's a great question, and I think we should take pride in who we are and really just know that a lot of what we've built over time has been diluted by other cultures, and that we are originators for a lot of things. And it's almost like we've kind of been forced into believing that these prizes with the white academies, or however it was worded, are the most important and the most prestigious just because of the tradition. And it's like, you think about these award shows, some of them go back to times where people we're still not free, but right. It was worse, you know what I mean? And you would have mostly a white audience with Black people as performers, not even being nominated for anything. Fast forward to 2018, I feel like the brainwashing happens slowly over time, where it's like, oh, now finally we have a seat at the table, and finally we are good enough to be considered to win this prize. When really, and I got this from Solange, we are the prize. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't need your Grammy, I am your Grammy.
Right.
But just as there's this movement now to support Black-owned businesses, I feel like we need to support each other in that way too. Like, why is it that an Oscar or an Emmy or whatever is that important? It's only as important as what you make it. You know what I mean?
True.
So those are my thoughts on it. I feel like our culture is just so amazing. And if we could just embrace that a little bit more among ourselves, it would go a long way. So.
Okay, so for me, I definitely try to look at things kind of both sides or whatever. So I understand it being a big deal for the actors, simply because a lot of times these awards are attached to a dollar sign. You know, the more accolades they have from these white institutions, the more they kind of, I don't want to say acclimate, but the more they play their game a little bit, the more they're able to ask for. And it's crazy because I think Viola Davis was saying it, how people compare her to Meryl Streep, like she's the black Meryl Streep. When, I mean, I love Meryl Streep, but I'll take Viola over her.
Right.
Probably just because she's black, but, you know, I'm for everything black. But she was saying, but they don't want to pay me Meryl Streep money.
Right.
Pay me Meryl Streep money. If you compare me to her, pay me Meryl Streep money.
Yeah.
Like, black women especially are so underpaid in Hollywood. Black men are underpaid. Black women are grossly underpaid.
Yeah.
And there's these black women like the Nia Longs and the Gabrielle Unions that have been in this game for decades at this point. And they're just now being able to ask for the money that they deserve.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous, you know? But of the standpoint of, you know, Denzel having to be crooked before he took it and stuff like that, we're still seen a certain way in media. And it's like, when you look at the things that we win for, it's rarely like the black person being like the protagonist or saving the day or something like that. They're a slave or they're the help or, you know, Regina Hall won it for, was it 7 seconds? Was it called 7 seconds?
I'm not sure. I can't
remember what it was called, but it was basically one of the stories of many black young men where a cop killed him and they were covering it up. You gotta watch that movie. It was really, really good. But yeah, so it's always when we're in a position of being downtrodden. And it's like, that's the way society likes to see us.
Yeah.
They like to see us downtrodden.
Yeah.
So those are the awards that we win. And it's whack and it's BS, but that's the reality of the situation. I definitely feel like we're at a point, and there's so many black creatives and there's so many black people funding their own film and TV and stuff now, that I see in the near future us definitely, I mean, aside from the BET Awards, I'm not going to talk about the BET Awards, but I could definitely see us creating something for us, by us, when it comes to film and television. And I feel like it's way past due and it's beyond necessary, because they work hard and they never get the accolades that they deserve, and they never will from the academies, you know what I mean, and these predominantly white academies and institutions. So I think it is more important for us to big up ourselves right now, especially in the climate that we're in. It's super divided and volatile. And I feel like now more than ever, we need to come together.
Yeah.
And we definitely need to support each other and encourage each other and uplift each other.
I agree.
And that's in every field.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And I think we can do it. You know, when you think about Hollywood and how basic, from what I know, like, from what I've heard, I don't know this to be 100% true. From what I've heard, it's a select few middle-aged or upper-aged white Jewish men that kind of run Hollywood. And we're getting to a point now where we have enough people in the black community that have a voice, that are recognizable by us, and that are innovative and forward-thinking enough to come together and be that super group, you know what I mean, within their own rights. And if you know, think of someone like a Diddy. Like, let's get someone from every category, like Diddy from an entertainment perspective, or like a Kevin Hart even from just the comedy world, or a LeBron from athletics, whatever. If multiple people can come together and utilize all of their resources and put together just a really amazing show, this award show that's yet to happen, people would definitely tune in. You know, we turned out for Black Panther, and it wasn't just us. There was obviously other people that supported.
Because we're lit.
Exactly.
And everybody wants some of the melanin shine.
Exactly.
Even if they don't have the melanin.
Right. So, you know, it wouldn't just be us watching.
Right.
But...
And even beyond that, like, if these people got together, and not even just them, I feel like if there was, like, some initiative of, in any field, and we, like, started crowdfunding, we run the economy.
Yeah.
Like, we literally run the economy.
Yeah.
And we're the poorest.
Yeah.
We're the poorest people in the country, and we run the economy. We spend the most money.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there was some type of initiative and we all like crowdfunded it,
yeah,
the possibilities are endless.
Exactly.
If we just came together and put our money together,
I agree.
Possibilities are endless.
Yep. And what you said earlier about dollars being associated with those, like the Oscars and Emmys and things like that, I agree with that. But I have been seeing recently people becoming famous and people making good money off of their social media presence.
True.
And I feel like there has been a shift. I was watching an interview. There was a model talking about not booking jobs because she didn't have enough followers.
Wow.
So, like, things are changing. And
I mean, that's a little scary, though.
It is scary, but some people can leverage that, I feel like, to become, you know, famous, to make the money that they should be making, become, you know, a household name, essentially.
Even beyond that, I remember it was like last year, something happened on like, I think it was an American airline flight, and they like tried to brush her off, but she had like a whole bunch of followers, and she, I want to say it was, I can't remember who it was, but like she put them on blast on social media, and like they rectified the problem.
Yep.
So it's like, it's all about how you use your platform too.
Exactly. That's true.
Not just, you know, selling waist trainers.
Or flat tummy tea.
Flat tummy tea, you know. Let's progress the culture, you know.
That's true.
So I want to thank you so much for being on this episode. It was a great one.
Thank you.
This felt good. I appreciate you so much.
I felt good. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
I think it's awesome what you're doing. So keep it up. Thanks.
And do you want to give them any of your... Well, you're not really on social media and stuff, so... She keeps it pretty low key, so sorry guys. You'll just have to catch her in the gym.
Yes.
But yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, you can follow the show at It's Predestined _ the podcast. Is that it? I think that's it. Or, I mean, you don't really have to follow me personally. You can follow this page. But mine is, it's at It's Pri _ Destined, and that's it. And whoever is going to Miami Carnival, holla at me. I'll be down there. Hit me in my DMs. We can link. All right, that's it. Thanks. Bye, guys.